Hi, this is Jacob L.E., jacoblevideoproduction.com. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about the basics of Instagram prospecting, finding potential customers or potential clients on Instagram. I'm going to go through the basics of what's important. I'll start by going through the profile because having that set up properly is really important before you do all of the work. And then I will give some examples of me doing the work and reaching out to some people. I work with a lot of businesses and they're like, oh, we only have 75 followers. We can't use Instagram to get a lot of customers and business. Now, I don't have a huge Instagram, but I have about 3,000 real followers. And honestly, about 20% of my business comes from clients from Instagram. I've lined up 7 significant ones. And honestly, the tactics I was using to get those customers and clients don't require me having a larger Instagram account. You can do it even if you have 75 followers, even if you have 100. So this really works for anyone, no matter how big your following is. And I want to start by just with the profile. You definitely want to have this filled out. You want to mess around with ways to clarify your message. You don't get a lot of space. I do think where you have like the arrows pointed down and linking out to what you want people to follow, whether that's your website or something else, and really tell them why they should click on that is incredibly important. Because if a lot of people are coming to your profile, but you're not enticing people to visit your website or to reach out, that's a huge missed opportunity. Another thing people are concerned about is, oh, I don't have enough time. I don't have a ton of time to devote hours and hours and hours to doing this. This is something that you can do in little 5-minute chunks. That's how I lined up customers. That's how I grew my following, is just 5 minutes at a time. When I was waiting in line at the grocery store, when someone was late for a meeting with me, I would just open it up and do exactly what I'm going to show right here. Now, it is fairly nice if you think about, let's say, for example, at one point I did a lot of wedding videos. So when I was doing the most outreach for wedding videos, it was nice if I could make my most recent post about wedding videos specifically. Because, you know, when I'm reaching out to people, they may visit my profile and then boom, right there, it has that video. So it's nice to have that as the most recent post. And if possible, if you can do a story on that as well, where you show off some of your work or do something that would connect directly with your ideal customer and client, I'll show you like when it gets a notification that you liked something or commented on something, they'll be able to click it as well. So it's pretty easy for someone to see that you engage with them and then go to your profile or see your story. So you want to make it, if possible, relevant to them, although that is not required. So hashtags are an awesome way that you can find people online. So you want to really try to get in their head and think about what they would be using as a hashtag with doing weddings, Denver engagement, Colorado engagement photos. If you are a local business, you do want to definitely keep it local, because if I just do engagement, it could be someone in New Jersey. It's not super relevant to me and my business, but if I do Denver engagement, I don't do wedding videos anymore, but you just go and you'd follow that hashtag, so it would show up in your feed. You want to be following a number of relevant hashtags, anything that people who are your potential customers, potential clients would be using, you want to follow, because then it'll make it easy. It just pops in your feed. So I would say it is definitely worth your time when you're getting started to open up a notepad or a Word document and just one time do like 15-20 minutes worth of hashtag research. And this will help you come up with hashtags in the future, but it will also help you think about which ones to pull up when you have 5 minutes and want to leave some comments and some likes. And it's just a really valuable resource. So you want to, let's say I'm just looking for like Denver small business, Denver small biz, small business. If it only has like 48 posts, it may be too small. So these are something that I could potentially use myself and see if I could get featured in the top 9. But also by following this hashtag, it'll show up in my feed and I can just go through, and honestly, it never hurts to like quite a few. And some people just do an approach where they leave 1,000 comments over and over and over and just basically the same thing to every single person. I do think it's worthwhile to actually, if someone legitimately seems like they'd be a great customer or client, really put together something that you think they would find interesting, that feels very relevant to them rather than just a generic great post. So actually reading their content and starting a conversation, asking them a question, it doesn't have to be insanely complicated. If you just meet someone in real life, you would just ask them something about themselves or start an interesting conversation. And sometimes you can actually look over to the side and see if there's other potential relevant hashtags. So what I can do, I can just like a whole bunch of posts. So as you're going through a hashtag, you want to be keeping track and saying, okay, am I finding a lot of people who are my potential customer or client? If you haven't run into a whole lot, you may want to switch to something else that's a little more relevant. And just as you see people's posts, you should be able to tell, would this be a good potential customer or client? If not, feel free to like and move on to the next one. If it is, leave a comment. So people don't really like being sold to, and I get so many messages in my inbox of people just immediately trying to sell me. And if you haven't actually commented or liked it, often they won't even really see it, or it'll be under like pending conversation. So I don't think this is the ideal approach. It's a lot better if it can start with a like of a post and then a comment, and then you can potentially follow them and build somewhat of a ongoing conversation or a relationship. And it's awesome if they follow you back. Then one of your potential customers and clients that you've identified is going to see all of your content going forward, which is incredible. So I'm not finding a whole ton of content that's super relevant with Denver small business, but I have liked 15 posts and left 5 comments in a very short period of time. So those people could potentially stumble upon it. So we may need to get a little more specific. And you get a lot of suggestions. So let's do Denver chiropractor. So it is important to have an idea of what you want your focus to be and exactly what you could offer for them. So when you're getting started, you don't want to sell people right away, but it is nice to have some idea of where you'd want to sort of move the conversation over time, where you don't want to sell people or be pushy, but where you could mention, oh, I do wedding videos, oh, I do this specific type of video. But first you want to learn a little bit more about them and kind of get a back and forth going. The more you comment, the more relationships you can form, the more followers you get. And if you're really leaving the comments on people that you've already established could be potential customers or clients, that means every response and every time you can turn it into a direct message, or anyone who follows you really could turn into a client over time. If I was in a rush and just had a tiny little bit, you could just go through and leave a whole lot of likes. You kind of want to be watching for the same name so it doesn't show up, oh, this person liked 40 of your photos. Another thing that's incredibly important is just anytime someone leaves you a comment, respond. This will not only help with the algorithm, but it's someone who took time out of their day to leave a comment for you. It's going to be so much better if you actually engage with them. You can form relationships with people over time, and Really, I think people can be a little too focused on, oh, I need new people, rather than focusing on the followers, the people engaging that they already have. Some of the people I've done business with have been following me for several months or like a year and had gotten to know me and my business and gotten familiar with it because they had followed me because I'd used the same tactics that I'm talking about in this video. So there's no crazy super ninja tactics that I'm using here. It's just doing things consistently. So you don't want to just leave a bunch of random unconnected comments. You really want to think about, okay, this is someone who I feel is a potential customer or client. In what ways could I help them? In what ways could I kind of slowly steer the conversation toward that and get them talking about some of the issues or problems? Because often people don't think, oh, I need a video. They think, oh, I'm having trouble with this issue. And, they may just want to pick your brain for a little bit before, handing over a lot of money, or they may want to follow you and see what you're all about. This is where I think it's helpful if you have helpful blogs and information. Really, I want to be helpful to people in any way possible, and I'm happy to teach people how to do specific things, and if they want me to take care of it for them, they can hire me to do it. So I encourage you to have some sense of humor. Like, this is a tech company, but they're doing little peeps. So I'm just going to comment, yum, that's just one serving, right? So here is someone I was going back and forth with for a little bit, and then they started following me and engaging with my content, and they are a potential customer or client. So if someone's been going back and forth with you, what you can do is you can follow them and tell them, oh yeah, I love your content, I'm happy to follow you. You can say, I'd love if you do the same, or that's also implied. You don't have to necessarily say it. What you're ultimately trying to lead toward is A, talking about something where your business could come up as a solution to their problem. B, even if you can just get them to follow you, then they'll be engaging with your content on an ongoing basis, and you should be structuring your posts in a way that it shows potential customers and clients what you can do for them, what info you can provide, how you can be beneficial. So if you have identified someone as a potential customer and client and they follow you, that is a big win for you, and you should follow them back. And when they pop up in your feed, just continue to engage, and if possible, move things more in the direction of how you help customers and clients. When I was doing wedding videos, it would be, just congratulating them, sometimes asking who their photographer was. And then when we went back and forth a little bit, sometimes I just mentioned, well, I don't know if you've thought about doing a wedding video, but I would love if you check out my work if you get the chance. And of course, my link was to my specific reel doing wedding videos. So in summary, I'll give the example of what I was doing that was getting results when I was trying to line up wedding videos. So I structured my profile around wedding videos, made sure that my most recent post was about that, tried to do a story about that, and of course, structured my profile around that and my link directly to my wedding video work. And then I found relevant hashtags like Denver engagement, Colorado engagement, things like that. And then I went and liked a whole bunch of posts and left comments just congratulating people, asking people where the photos were taken, who their photographer was, and sometimes would move the conversation to a point of, oh, I don't know if you thought about doing a wedding video. If you're interested, you could check out my work. I have some really amazing content on that, or something like that. And if you go back and forth with someone for a while, you can follow them. And I find, maybe a third of the time they will follow you back. I could get a lot deeper, if you want me to do templates of exactly what to say, it will really depend on what the captions are. You want to speak directly to people and make it clear that you actually are interested in them and read their posts, but I'm happy to get deeper onto any of these portions. This is sort of an overview of some of the things that you want to be thinking about. Anyway, please subscribe and click the bell to be notified when I come out with new content. I do a lot of similar videos like this, looking at Instagram marketing, Facebook marketing, video marketing in general. So if that interests you, I hope you subscribe. Anyway, thanks. I will see you in the next video.